Aloha, my name is Julie Mitchell, and I am the Executive Director here at Ikahi Mediation Center. Welcome to our Finding Solutions Growing Peace Brown Bag Lunch Series. Most of you have been here before and have heard this before, so bear with me. And those of you who are new, welcome. Ikahi is a nonprofit community mediation center. We serve East Hawaii on Hawaii Island. We were founded in 1983, meaning we are 40 years old this year. We started out as a program of the Island of Hawaii YMCA, and we became our own independent nonprofit in 2006. Our mission is to empower people to come together, to talk and to listen, to explore options, and to find their own best solutions. To achieve this mission, we offer mediation, facilitation, and training, like our brown bags, to strengthen the ability of diverse individuals and groups to resolve interpersonal conflicts and community issues. Our Brown Bag Lunch series is held every third Thursday at 12 noon on Zoom. You do need to register on Eventbrite each time to receive the Zoom link. Our next speaker on November 16th is Kimberly Dark. She will be speaking on the topic, When Ideology Blocks Action, Name It, Discuss It, and Act. And I'm going to paste the topic, speaker, and registration link in to the chat in case you would like to register for that right now or after our event. I also want to talk about our next basic mediation training, which starts on Friday, February 23rd. It is a 4-day interactive training. It's perfect for anyone who wants to interact and communicate more effectively, both personally and or professionally. If you're interested in becoming a better problem solver, a negotiator, and also increase your value in the workplace. This is also how we recruit our mediator pool. We rely on volunteers in the community, such as yourselves, to become mediators for Ikahi. And this is what you have to do first. It's also just a great training if you want to learn how to resolve conflict in peaceful and lasting ways. And I will also give you the basic mediation training link if you want to learn more about that. We only do that once a year, so this is the opportunity. I try to tell people early because you have to set aside a Friday and a Saturday and a Friday and a Saturday. So it's the last Friday and Saturday in February and the first Friday and Saturday in March. And then at the end of today's talk, we do ask you to fill out a short online survey, which helps with our grant funding for this free series. I will be putting the link in the chat at the end, so just click into that and please give us your thoughts. We also do at the end, tonight or tomorrow, we will send out an email, or Monday, depending on our workload, we will send you an email including Darlene's slides, this video link, and the link to the survey, as well as the link to our next Brown Bag Talk. I also want to wish everyone a happy Conflict Resolution Day. Every third Thursday in October is International Conflict Resolution Day. And we are celebrating in two ways. One, with this talk with Darlene here today, and also tomorrow, we are part of a group hosting a free in-person workshop at UH Hilo from 5 to 7. So that's Friday, tomorrow at UH Hilo. It's with Ami Kunimura on compassion, how to practice care for self and care for the community. And I will also put a link to register in there. And there's free poo-poos for dinner if you want to come join us tomorrow evening. Without further ado, it's time to introduce our topic, being an ally, caring for those in conflict, and our speaker, Darlene Viggiano. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
She's a doctor because she's a PhD. She's also an MFT. She is just elected, I understand, as board vice president for Pune Community Medical Center Foundation. She's also an adjunct faculty of the College of Mind Body Medicine at Saybrook University. I believe that's in California. She's an online therapist, licensed in marriage and family counseling, and a psychoeducator who is dedicated to helping adults grow psychologically and spiritually. Dr. Viggiano has authored 2 books, been published in peer-reviewed journals, and presented internationally. Please help me giving a very big Zoom round of applause and welcome for Darlene. Yay!
Thank you. You know, I really want to click on a bunch of those links that you put in the chat box, and I can't do it because I'm presenting. But thank you so very much for that wonderful introduction. I really appreciate being here and having this opportunity to do this work together with your large and wonderful community. I'm really hoping for immense participation today. That's the way this is going to work best. So I hope people won't be shy. I hope you'll take yourself off mute. I hope you'll turn on your camera, and we'll do this together. That's the way it works. You know, if we're going to talk about conflict and how to be an ally to those in conflict, we're going to need some examples of conflict and some role playing. And so I'll be calling on volunteers and all of that kind of thing. So perhaps without further ado, I should go ahead and start sharing screen. Does that sound about right? Okay, here we go. All right. So participants can now see the screen, and you can nod your head or thumbs up. Yeah, that works too. All right. So this whole thing about being an ally comes from my having worked with Vibrant Hawaii on this project that they're doing right now called Malama Lama. And that grew out of a previous project that we were all doing together called Noho Pai Pai. And I took the Noho Pai Pai instructor training, and lo and behold, it morphed into this new project called Malama Lama. And I had some input into that project. And so I'm being informed mutually by the work of Vibrant Hawaii. And you'll see that reflected in the slides to come. In terms of caring for those in conflict, I could have as easily put, you know, tending to those in conflict. You know, the word tend and the word tender have a lot to do with each other. When there's conflict, it's very, very tender. It can even be traumatic. And because of that, we can fall back into traumatized ways of functioning, or we could even say dysfunctioning, right? And we need someone who can just listen, just plain old ordinary listen. Do you guys know that when we listen, you know, I just was going to do a advanced slide. Oh, there it goes. Oh, that's perfect. When we listen, we're actually regulating the person who speaks. So how are we going to regulate others if we ourselves are in dysregulation because we're in the conflict too? Not easy. So that's why people who are in conflict need a third party to go to who can just lean back and take in and not take sides. So if we wanted to be such a person, if we wanted to do such a thing, we would need to prepare our own container first. And this is where I'm going to start right on in, asking for volunteers, asking you to unmute, asking you to be on camera, if you are so willing. So these are just 2 quick, easy self-reflections that we can ask ourselves with regard to how we're going to sit with another's pain, anger. You know, we don't know what could be coming up for them, right? So would someone be willing to tackle the first question just as a sample? We're not looking for anything right or wrong. We're just asking for how it is for you personally in your experience. Would someone be willing? How do I stay centered when sitting with others' feelings? Yes, Dennis, come on off mute.
It seems to me, it's a good question, but it seems to me that an important aspect is to hold back on the sympathy and be more involved with empathy, for one thing, to not overreact. Oh, that's horrible, that kind of thing, to try to avoid that. How
And
could
I
they do
think,
that to you?
yes.
Those are
And-
my two answers to that, and to listen, and not try to change their mind or change their point of view.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you know, I must admit that it's a cutting edge for me not to go into empathy, you know. I mean, not to go into sympathy. Um, empathy is just kind of automatic for me, but I also tend to fall into sympathy. And um, I think when I'm being asked specifically to sit with another's feelings, I can um, sort of bracket that and just stay in empathy. But when I'm not being asked specifically, my immediate go-to is to fall right into the sympathy. So that's really good that you brought that up. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do you find that you have a way to, I don't know, negotiate between those two stances or hold yourself in one or the other? You're back on mute.
Oh yeah. It feels kind of natural to me to not overload a sympathy, because I know I used to be that, and I just said stop being that way when someone is in conflict, pain, or difficulty.
Okay.
So I guess I don't have a real good answer for that.
Making a decision is a primary start, right? Because once you make a decision, then you could be aware of what you're doing and then further decide to either go ahead and pull back or, you know, no, this time I really have to say, you know, that's just horrendous, you know. Okay.
It seems like the difficult aspect is not to try to solve their problem for
Right, right. Yeah. And so, in regard to that, thank you for bringing that up, Dennis. I was just taking in some information from another video that I like to watch, these kind of, you know, trauma-informed videos on how to deal with things. And they were saying that the path is regulate, resonate, or relate, and then reason. And so, let us, even right here, right now, all do a self-regulation with ourselves, right? Because the second question there is, what do I need to do or take care of now to be the right person to listen later? And the very first thing we need to do is regulate ourselves and maybe co-regulate with the other person. So here's an exercise that I learned from Maui Strong, and it's called Hanuha. It is simply on the word Hanui Loko, breathing in, and simply on the word or phrase Hanui Waho, breathing out. But here's the thing that I'm going to bring into it, because everybody knows how to breathe in and breathe out. We can set an intention. We can set an intention for feeling safe inside. We can set an intention for being able to be an ally. We can set an intention for being able to care for or tend to another in conflict. And so what I'm going to do is, when I say Hanui Loko and we all breathe in, there'll be a pause. And in that pause, you can set your intention for yourself. And when I say Hanui Waho and we all breathe out, there'll be another pause. And in that pause, you can again set the same intention for yourself or another. And I'll repeat the cycle. We'll just do 3. And you'll see how quick and easy it is to get yourself in a centered space by doing a simple self-regulation exercise. So if everybody's ready, those of you who I can see, maybe give me a thumbs up or whatever. All right, we're good. So, Hanui Loko. Hanui Waho. Nui loko. Nui waho. Nui loko. Nui waho. And release that focus of attention. Come back to presence with the rest of the room, perhaps opening your eyes, coming back to regular style breathing that you always do. And can I get someone to speak about what they just experienced? Anybody at all? Just turn on your mic and take it away. As we're waiting,
Well-
go ahead, go for it.
Okay, I can just say that it really allowed me a chance to pause and reflect on what do I want out of this situation? How can I de-escalate the situation, because I don't want to be yelling, or I don't want to be creating disharmony, or I don't like, I want to send my love out to the other person I'm having conflict with, and I want to send love to myself and, give myself empathy. So I could see it being really valuable.
Thank you,
As
Lahi.
like when you're in the middle of conflict, like time out and then do that exercise. I think it'd be great.
Yes, and also before you even begin a tender topic, and after you have gone through the discussion and you feel like you've come to a place where, okay, we need to say, let's table this for the next time, right? Let's do that breath again, right? And I will thank you so much, Lahi, for chiming in. I really appreciate you. And I can tell you that for me, what came up in the pause, where I thought I would say, oh, I am an ally, or oh, I care for others, or something. What came up for me was, I am attentive and available. And I don't know why that came up for me today, but it kind of makes sense because I was also watching a video about the polyvagal nervous system. And there is a mobilized yet calm state that a person can be in. Yes, Socrates, know thyself. Yeah. And that state is ready, but it's not in fear. Okay. It's calm. And so when I'm in that state is one of my best places for being able to sit centered with others. So I'm seeing in the chat now, what were those four, please? Regulate, resonate, reason. Actually, it's only three. Regulate is the first one. Resonate or, yeah, I think for me, I use resonate, and reason was the last one. I might have said another alternative word in addition to resonate, but I'm not remembering it now. Relate, that's it. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So you can relate or you can resonate, and you can reason. The original says relate. For some reason, I shifted to resonate. And then Franz is saying, know what your opinion is, what your belief is. Do not judge others based on your perception. This is huge, Franz, and I hope that you might be willing to come on and talk to us about this, because we need to differentiate between opinion, belief, and judgment. I'm going to give you a second, in order to decide whether you want to come on, by saying something that I learned when I was a batterer's interventionist at Man Alive, Sacramento. We tended to train in our classes for people who had to do, say, for example, 52 sessions, because they had a violence charge on them, that in the room, we would agree amongst ourselves that there would be no judgments, opinions, advice, or contesting questions. What that meant was that instead of judgments, we were just going to perceive what we saw, and we would ask the other, would you be open to feedback about what I'm seeing or hearing? And then if they said yes, we'd give it. If not, no. Okay. As an alternative to opinions, we would ask for their opinion and where that opinion is coming from. As an alternative to advice, we would ask for what advice they would give to another who's in the same situation, or what advice they think that their elder self or their favorite, wise person would give them in this case. And instead of contesting questions like, why didn't you? Or don't you think you should? Or isn't it best if you? We would offer open-ended questions, right? Well, what is it that we're wanting? Where do you see this as problematic in your life? When is this coming up for you? How is this manifesting, right? Why do you suppose someone is doing that behavior at this time if they're confused about somebody else's behavior? Not why are you doing your behavior, but why do you suppose this is even happening in the first place, right? Who could you seek out for support? Those kinds of questions, okay? So if Franz would like to come on and share with us more from your point of view about opinion, belief, judgment.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm on. So
Okay.
I think everybody has opinions and everybody is prejudiced and everybody has beliefs. And I think it's important to know what they are. So when you hear somebody else talk, you have to understand what your perception is, that it is usually not exactly what they want to say, but how you perceive it based on your beliefs, experiences. And so you have to be always aware of the filter that you're putting in, which may allow you to be a little bit more objective and look at it a different way.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Franz. I also see that someone, Charlie, is talking about what I call it is pure observation, cry. I wonder if it's okay to ask about cry. Oh, and somebody wants me to type in the Hawaiian words for the hanuha. So hanuha is the name of the exercise.
This is cry.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I call it pure observation because you try to change your perception into only what you see without making any judgments at all. So it's just a pure observation of what you see is the way I approach it.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And that's going to be part of what we'll be learning today too. Ooh, golly gee, I meant to put the hanuha in there and I only sent it to Raju. I meant to send it to everyone and it only went to Raju. So Raju, if you wouldn't mind reposting it to everyone, I apologize. It was Lahi who wanted the information and maybe others would like it too. So if that could be reposted, I would certainly appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next slide about mediating. So what is my sub-role in this moment as an ally? We talked about listening. We haven't spoken so much yet about reflecting or clarifying. Is there someone who would feel comfortable talking to us about when they have found it, thank you, Raju, helpful to be a reflector versus when they have found it helpful to be a clarifier, or another role that an ally might play in a particular moment? Anybody ready, willing, and able? We've got Raju. Go for it. Feel free to unmute.
All right, I'm sorry. What did I sign up for?
Thank you for sharing the Hanuha exercise. And also, if you would be willing to talk about when you have found it helpful to be a reflector, when you have found it helpful to be a clarifier, or if there's another role that you often or sometimes play as an ally besides a listener.
Usually with my spouse, thank you for that question. I'll do the best I can. But usually with my spouse, I try to be a clarifier because we got time and I can ask further clarifying questions. I tend to be a reflector on Zoom calls. And a listener when I'm watching news because I try not to reflect too much on it or even try to clarify anything. It's just not, it's just a lot of drama, and I could spend my whole lifetime trying to reflect or clarify one story. So I just try to listen and keep it and stay detached in a way.
Okay, so it's possible that another sub-role could be a detacher, helping even the other person to detach in terms of shifting the options so that perhaps more objectivity can be brought to bear on the situation. So asking questions such as, well, what do you do when you want to take a break from all this, right? So not the kind of detachment where we say things like, oh, don't pay any attention to them, not that kind of a detachment, but the kind of detachment of like, well, how do you get a higher perspective, or where do you go to take a break from this? Those kinds of questions. So detacher could be another sub-role that we could play as an ally. Okay. The next one is a practice, because remember, everything that we've just done up until now is just really getting ourselves ready to be in on this with somebody else, knowing what possible roles we might play, knowing what kind of stance and attitude we need to have while we're sitting there. So now is when we're finally going to get into, okay, I'm here with the other person. Now what do I say or do, right? So if they just spill their guts at you, no problem. You can just run with the fact that you've prepared yourself. But if they're having trouble opening up, you need an icebreaker. You need to just give them a chance to check in with their feelings. You've already checked to see if they were willing to co-regulate with you through a breathing exercise or some other grounding or some other ritual that they like to do to set the stage for talking about a tense topic, perhaps. Here are some things that you can use, and there's even one for younger people. So let's go ahead and try one or two, maybe all three of these together if we have time. I have to check how we're doing. We're about halfway through. So, for example, if one were to ask, what color is your mood today? Is there someone who could share a possible response to that? I was thinking about this question this morning, and I was thinking the color silver came up because my mood is to look for silver linings. My mood is to be reflective, like the moon. My mood is to kind of look for shades of gray in black and white situations that present themselves. That's kind of how I'm situated today. Anybody else have a color that's coming up for their mood today?
My color today is kind of green because I've
Green.
got, because I have some hopes and looking forward to the future and challenges I have coming up. So it's very green.
Awesome. I love that. Okay, beautiful.
My
And-
color is blue. And
Uh-huh.
all I gotta do is look at my shirt, because every day, like today is all about communication. So I wear blue for communication. I wore green for healing yesterday when I was doing some healing work. So
Sweet. Can you say more about the blue for communication, like talking a blue streak, or how, tell me how communication and blue go together for you?
okay, well, in the chakra systems, blue is the 5th chakra, which is all about communication and sharing. But you can also see, sometimes you'll see the blue color being used when there's something that wants to be communicated. I'll see blue in the area. So anyway, it's just kind of subtle, but it's I noticed when I wear it, like if I'll tend to go that direction, along the communication route.
Sweet. So if I'm recalling correctly, the 5th chakra would be the throat chakra, right?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. Throat chakra, communication.
Beautiful. All right. Let's shift to this other one. What's your internal weather today?
I'm going to offer again.
Go for it, and then Dennis.
Even though I'm green in color,
Mm-hmm.
it's very foggy right now. I
Ooh,
really don't know where I'm headed, but I know
gotcha.
I'm going to get there, and I'm waiting to
Mhm.
break out of the fog. So that's
Sweet.
my mindset right now.
Awesome. Awesome. I hear you trying to see your way clear.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Dennis.
Anytime I'm in a learning experience, like this is for me here to learn from you, I try to make my weather clear, just clear of any prejudices or thoughts, whatever. I just want to learn,
That's
listen and learn.
beautiful. So I get the picture of a cloudless sky.
Yeah. Maybe a
Beautiful.
cloud over in the horizon, but that's it.
Okay. You'll take one. Beautiful. And could any one of you picture asking a younger person what animal they feel like today? Can you picture this being a way to open things up with say a kiddo who maybe is seeming sullen, and you want to get them to open up? Any experience with this out there in video land?
I have a question on this one, Darlene. Are you asking about us working with someone in mediation? You might ask this question.
So, obviously we often think of mediation as between adults, but a lot of times, two kids will come to mommy and daddy and say,
Okay.
oh, he's picking on me. And the other one says, she started it. And
I got you.
right? And so, they might go to their separate corners for a little while and, stop sharing the toys. And before they're ready to come back and share the toys again, we might kind of debrief what the heck happened there, right? And so we might need to break a little ice with them. And one way that we could check in is like, I saw a lot of feelings were coming out there a little while ago. And I wonder if you can pick an animal that you feel like right now. So in terms of Marshall Rosenberg's nonviolent communication, has anybody ever seen or heard about that? So in his world, he created a way to teach this to children. He called it the giraffe and the jackal, I believe it was. And so he taught them about giraffe speak and jackal speak. And you could see YouTube videos on this. And so you can ask a kid, you know, hey, are you feeling more like a giraffe or like a jackal? Or let them pick their animals, because, you know, who knows if the kid knows what a jackal is, or they certainly usually tend to know what a giraffe is. But, you know, we think of giraffes as ones with, you know, a high view of things, and they're, you know, vegetarian, and they're, you know, calm and cool and collected and just kind of easygoing, and, you know, and we think of jackals as like fierce, ferocious, scary, right? And so we could check in with a kid that way. Oh, good, somebody's got it up here. Ben Carroll, thank you for that. Jackal or giraffe, beautiful. So yeah, I highly encourage each and every one of you to tap into this nonviolent communication. And he's got Marshall Rosenberg, although he's deceased, he's had so many videos out there and so many followers who've put up their own videos on these topics. It really helps a lot. I'm going to be hopefully teaching another skill to mediators alone from Marshall Rosenberg's body of work called Offner, Observe, Feel, Need, Request. So that'll be a follow-up, hopefully. Offering support. So questions like, where do you find yourself at odds? What feeling do you want at the end of all this? So can we get a volunteer to do a little bit of either a role play or a sharing about a conflict, any kind of conflict whatsoever? It could be home, work, school, neighborhood, whatever's on your mind. You probably came here for a reason beyond just having nothing to do during your lunch hour. Or you've heard tell of something and you don't know how anybody's going to get through that. Lahi, go for it. Yay. You can unmute.
Oops.
There you go.
Yeah, there are many conflicts. Okay, so this is in my relationship. The first one that came to mind, we were driving, we were in Hilo, and so you just want an example of conflict, right?
Yeah, it could be an example of conflict, sure. And hopefully answering the question where you found yourself at odds, right? Not speaking about the other person, but only yourself.
Okay, so should I just jump right to that question then to save time?
Either way, your choice. You know, we're here to do this.
So, all right. So I wanted my partner to take care of something for me the next day because it sounded like it would work into his flow really perfectly. And he just said no, wouldn't even discuss it. And I was at odds because I was really needing collaboration, consideration, you know, kind of support, and kind of like to be seen for having good ideas for win-wins. I was looking for win-wins, and I was feeling really, really frustrated and angry and kind of like jackling him, and I really wanted to feel ease and gratitude and appreciation and support.
Sweet. That was so well stated. Very, very, very perfect. Almost, you know, Offner-like right there already. So what are you feeling now that you've described that? And what do you want to feel next?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I have my partner sitting here, and I brought him into this discussion, you know, to watch this talk with me, and I'm really wanting him to get this concept of having empathy for another person and helping each other, meet each other's needs. And so I'm feeling frustrated because I'm just not getting his buy-in. And I don't know, what was your other question?
What do you want to feel next?
Oh, I'd like to be heard and seen, and I'd like to feel more appreciated and more trusting that we can work together and more mutuality, I guess.
Got it. Okay. So I'm gonna see if I get this correct, and you'll have to correct me if I'm not correct, which is that within the relationship, I'm hearing you speak of frustration within this context of sharing this in the group and sharing it in this moment. Are you at this moment feeling heard right here and now for what you're wanting and needing? And this is outside of the context of the relationship. It's in the context of we're having this time together.
As in you're my ally, as in you're my ally kind of a thing?
As in, I'm here as your ally, and this whole group is hearing your voice and your desire to speak your needs.
Okay. Well, in that context, yeah, I feel really appreciative and grateful that I have allies, and it meets my need to be seen and heard. Sure.
Okay.
So then instead of feeling so much frustration, I feel more hopeful.
Sweet. Okay. So this is perfect, because what we're all showing together here is that we don't necessarily need to solve the conflict or the issue at hand in the relationship in this moment, right? All we need to do is offer a space where the needs are getting met, just in a different context, right? And so later it could become available that we shift contexts, right? In an appropriate time and place and way and manner, right? For now, what I'm hoping is that you're receiving the potential and the possibility that you as a human being can be seen, can be heard, can be felt, resonated with, right? For your human desire to relate and co-create with a partner.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
Awesome. Good job. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now let's talk about tending to current feelings and or needs, which we kind of started a little bit when we spoke with Lahi. But I would like to check in with some more people about physical sensations that they're having, comfort levels, perhaps on a scale of 1 to 10, the ability to envision a resolution, being able to say more about whatever conflict they're going through. So right now, we all just experienced something together. We all just witnessed something together. Lahi shared vulnerably, and Lahi's partner has been present for all of this. And many people may have physical sensations that are coming up for them, their own issues that they want to share in the context of our time together today. So is there another volunteer who can either share a conflict or do the role play right now, choosing one of the questions that's up there on the screen to answer in the group setting? For me, I think one of the physical sensations that I'm noticing is that before I started doing the presentation or the workshop, I had a lot of nervous energy kind of coursing through me, wondering, will there be enough participation to sustain what we're going to do? And now my physical sensation is very well dropped down, like my shoulders are relaxed. Like I feel myself being able to sit up straight rather than too stiff or hunched. How about others? Dennis.
I guess what I was unsure, the reason why I didn't jump in, I guess I'm not sure about what precisely we're to do here. Are we, after listening to Lahi, we're to describe our feelings now?
You can, that could be something that would come up right now because of the fact that we all shared and experienced this together. It's also possible that you might choose to, answer a different question for yourself and shift away from what we were just experiencing.
Okay. I have a good feeling of comfort about what just transpired, because often I think it's human to feel that if someone presents an issue that they have, like she did, that our hope is that at the end of the discussion that all will be well. And maybe it's sometimes just I felt heard, and a lot of times that's true in mediation. I felt heard, and that was the main thing. So that felt good.
Yes, because if one person can hear us, that means that we're hearable, we're supportable. Somebody else can hear us too. Now, another person might have different feelings than this feeling of comfort that you, Dennis, and I are sharing right now. Maybe Lahi is sharing it too. But I can imagine other people having other feelings, and comfort might not be one of those feelings. And that's okay. And that's, fair to talk about as well. And so if other people are having other physical sensation, maybe people have ideas for resolution on a conflict they're going through on their own personal level, or people have more to say about something else, this would be the time and the place to say and do that here and now. And if not, we'll move on.
I have a question for you, Darlene.
Yes.
The topic of co-regulation is such an amazing and a deep topic. Because that's one of the things like Biden's talking about to the Israelis right now, to kind of not react, but to co-regulate. And I think that's one of the reasons he went over there, to create a co-regulation around being very to pause in the process. And we don't know what could have happened in the last couple of days if things would have escalated. But the question I have for you is that ability to co-regulate seems to be absent in the moment that we need it. And then we have to go back and do something called trauma-informed work because we missed the boat on something. And then we have people trapped in being unregulated, not co-regulated for years and years and years. So do you have any magical wands or any magic formulas or any potions we can drink or something that can get us all co-regulated quicker?
It's called self-care, quite frankly. What you're talking about is being healing, being a force for peace, as opposed to doing healing and doing peacemaking. This is a concept that I learned through my practice of hypnosis, which is that we don't want to do hypnosis to somebody. We want to be hypnotic and offer them the kind of weather that we were talking about before, where they can shift from one internal weather to another, because we're offering the kind of weather that allows for that, right? And so as we do our own self-regulation, we offer that to the world, and therefore we can co-regulate. We offer the option to co-regulate. If we come forward from dysregulation, then we have two dysregulated parties, and there's nowhere good that we can go from that. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, that does. In the
Okay.
world, in the normal world. But I'll just add one more little question.
Mm-hmm.
In the world in the world that we have, people on the spectrum. We have people who are traumatized and they don't know it. They're still stuck places. I mean, we have so many people who are on the spectrum and they don't even know that they have an aspect of themselves. Like, we're not aware. This is something I heard the other day. Humans are not aware that we're not aware.
Exactly.
And so if we try to program AI from a place of not being aware of what we don't know, that we don't know, and we don't know where we're going, and we don't know what we're doing, and we don't know what the aim is. So I would love. I mean, somebody said we could have AI for healing, and maybe we have everybody has a personal computer that co-regulates. The phone co-regulates our nervous system.
Yes, we
And
have.
this is something I heard the other day, that possibly we could create a system of large information system that mirrors the human nervous system to co-regulate it.
We actually already have such things. One is called neurofeedback, and the other is called heart math. And there might be more other things that other people know about. But you can look up those two things, neurofeedback, which I've experienced myself, and heart math, and away you'll go. We have just a couple. Yeah, you bet. We have just a couple of more slides to go before we need to shift back to Julie and ikahi. This part about caring for those in conflict, to offer them questions such as, what does this conflict mean to you, right? About your ability to relate, about your self-identity. What is the toughest part about this for you? Is it that they fear some terrible outcome, or is it that they're already feeling so bad inside that they wonder about their own character? What strength do you carry forward now that you've had this chance to be listened to, right? And again, as we were talking about before, what would your 90-year-old self say to you, or what would your wise elder say to you, instead of looking for advice from the outside? And offering hope. Other questions that we can ask when we're being an ally. What are your hopes for resolving this, right? What are your dreams for the future beyond what you're going through today? In other words, can you lay aside this conflict for 2 seconds? Let's just bracket it and say, even if this conflict never got resolved, what about your wider dreams for your own future? And if you see that, then if you put this conflict in context, what happens with that? And then I see a question on the chat. Are you being hypnotic? Is that why I feel drowsy? I also feel pain in the usual places. I can put ice on the pain. I'm sorry to hear this, Elizabeth. I can only let you decide whether I was being hypnotic. In terms of feeling drowsy, I could be boring you to death, or you could be finally relaxing in ways that you haven't relaxed before, allowing you therefore to feel drowsy. You can also feel pain in the usual places because there's chronic pain, and you can put ice on it. And yes, that's a beautiful, lovely, wonderful way to self-care. And so other than that, I don't know quite what to say, but because we're coming so close to the end of our time, I'm going to go on to our final slide, which is ending focus on health and wellness, which fits right into, Elizabeth, what you are sharing on the screen. It's what self-care can you do today after we part? And ice is a good thing for pain. And what would feel good now as a way to close our time with each other? And so right there, Elizabeth, I would like to give you that chance. If you have a good way that you would like to do our closure, this would be your time to chime in and do that. Otherwise, we'll just go back to the Hanuha exercise to close out. Compassion meditation. Perfect. All right, you got it. So let us do a sort of a rendition of a compassion meditation. You can go ahead and allow your eyes to close as you breathe in compassion. And consider how it would be, may all beings enjoy compassion as you breathe out. Hanui Loko. Hanui Waho. We ran out of time, but continue your practice even after we close out. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Darlene. That was wonderful.
Sorry, I went over a little.
It's okay.
Mahalo,
I think
mahalo.
we're all feeling quite blissed out at the moment. And just if you can join us tomorrow at Hilo for the compassion workshop. Ami is wonderful. You would get more of this if this is something you need, self-care combined with care for the community. I don't think she sees those as divergent from what I've been reading on her blog. And we really appreciate you spending your lunch hour with us. Thank you so much for coming today. We do appreciate if you can take a minute to fill out the survey. I'll stick it in the chat again because it gets bumped down. And we do read these surveys. We do share them with our presenters. And we also use them to continue to get grant funding for this free event. We will be sending out an email with the video link, the slides, and the survey link if you have problems clicking into the chat. And please do feel free to sign up to join us next month. We have different topics and focuses and energy every month, which I love. We get to meet so many wonderful people and hear from them. So thank you so much, Darlene. We can all do our whatever symbols and whatever. I will post again the link for the survey, and I will post again the link for the workshop tomorrow. It's free. It's 5 to 7 at Hilo. There will be food starting at 4:30, just to provide some self-care for those of you who can attend. And Darlene, any last words for us before we say goodbye?
Just a super big thank you to all of you who are here and participated. And may you have compassion in your life for yourself and others.
Aloha, everyone.
Aloha.